lightning talk presenter, Anna Ferry, who will be talking to us about Hoot, Heutagogy and libraries, which let's see if I pronounced that correctly or not. So just a little bit about Anna. So Anna is a research and learning librarian and head librarian at Roseman University of Health Sciences at the Henderson campus, and she's responsible for research support, instruction, and collection needs for pharmacy and orthodontics departments and a Master's of Business Administration program. So I will turn it over to you, Anna.
Thank you. Let me share the slides here and get this up.
Great.
Oh, let me change the display. Presenter. There we go. So it's Heutagogy, and yes, you can pronounce it incorrectly, and that's totally fine. That's just the way that happens. Let me also pop up the chat here real quick, since that went away. This is my email address. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to contact me. So I'm going to start with some history and definitions. So in 2001, Chris Kenyon and Stuart Hayes wrote a paper about what they called the study of self-determined learning, which is the Heutagogy, and it extends andragogy, which is adult learning theory, and is intended for mature learners, which is not about their age, it's about their relationship to learning. So that can depend on the learning context, the situation, and their motivations. Nobody was always one type of learner or another. And it's also heavily focused in online learning environments, which is very relevant to our moment. So I want to point out that pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy, they are a spectrum. There is just an ongoing set of practices in here that have to do with, as you move along the spectrum, it moves towards greater learner maturity and autonomy, and you need less instructor control and less core structuring and scaffolding in there. So heutagogy is really learner-centered design at its maximum, where the instructor is just there for guidance and maybe highlighting certain resources, but the learner is really the one who determines the learning goals and objectives, or just identifies a learning potential. They set and control the learning path in the process and identify the materials that are relevant, and they even identify the relevant assessment points and the criteria for how that assessment should occur. And the overall goal is capability. So pedagogy and andragogy are aiming for competency and edging into capability, which is proven ability, the skill and the ability to retrieve and repeat it. But heutagogy is aiming for capability, which is confidence in your competency. It's high self-efficacy. It's knowing how to learn and reflecting on the learning process. It's creative, adaptable, flexible application of your competency and being able to communicate and actively affect that competency in a teamwork environment. Really important is the concept of double loop learning. So single loop learning would be learner reflects on a problem, takes an action, results in an outcome. Double loop learning starts with beliefs and actions, then addresses the problem with an action, and then an outcome, and then you reflect on that outcome and the entire path that got you there. And this reflection is essential to Heutagogy. So let's talk applications. Features of applications are how learner-centered and directed it is, which includes that flexible and negotiated assessment process and learner-generated content. It is not necessarily linear, it's more flexible in its timing, and the reflection is essential both on the process, how the learning was accomplished, and on how information discovery was done to support that process, which is an essential piece, I think. And it's collaborative. So some examples are things like learner-defined learning contracts, where they actually contractually engage what it is they're going to do over the learning time frame. Flexible curriculum, where they create their own pathways and map through whatever the topic is, and this can be done team-based as well. Learning-directed questions and discussions, and then also certain types of reflective practice, like things like learning journals, where you actually identify and keep track of how you learned over the process of learning. And action research, where while you're doing research, you're also taking action and critically reflecting on the actions you're taking. So an example might be something like learners find and interact with a problem. Then they find and watch and share materials related to that problem. Then they share their experiences and reflections with each other. They might question each other's thinking and resolve conundrums together. And in this process, they self-select the deliverable most relevant to that experience and to the needs related to the topic. The instructor might set the general topic area, might guide negotiations on what the outcomes and deliverables look like, and advise and process problems or issues, and provide constructive feedback. Challenges are, it's an unfamiliar learning environment for students. You really have to explain what's going on. It's also unfamiliar for instructors. You have to let it go. And there may be intercultural differences in learning communications and styles. Also, once self-guided assessment meets higher education credentialing stuff, you get into some problems around institutional policies and whether or not students can self-guide their assessment process. And then there's a lack of empirical evidence right now. It's still involved in that stage of qualitative studies where you're trying to understand the phenomenon and the factors involved, as opposed to identifying what exact impact it's having. So opportunities for libraries, designing and learning in a whole range of contexts that allows for multiple navigation strategies through the learning process, which are largely determined by the learner. And this is where libraries can come in. Our online presence, our mobile and web-based spaces, but also even when we embed in classroom spaces and giving control over to students. Certainly in one-on-one and small group learning, there's already research done on clinical learning environments. And finally, we have our variations of different types of learner-directed sessions. So that can include having the learners decide what the content should be and telling you ahead of time, having them identify the reasons why they're going to want to learn it, having them develop the content itself, and of course, the reflection process. And finally, I want to add this into the chat here. A Padlet that I have set up that should allow you to actually participate in sharing some ideas around what Heutagogy might look like in library instruction. So please jump on in there, and also feel free to chat with me about what might be of interest to you in this area. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Anna, for this very interesting topic and discussion. So we have about a minute, a little over a minute, if anyone has any questions for Anna at this point. And I can see there's one that's coming right now from Francis Chu. Is this the theoretical underpinning for PBL?
Lay out what PBL is, because I may not be thinking the same thing, and I want to make sure we're in the same thing. I do not know what underpins what here. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't come out of the same arenas, right? So if you're talking about the larger ones, you're talking about constructivist versus behaviorist, like those kinds of big overarching learning areas. And then something like Heutagogy is actually underneath those big layers, and it's probably more aligned on the same level as something like problem-based learning, if that makes sense. I don't know if that explanation totally made sense. But the point is, I don't firmly know like what threads to what, because it's more of a web.
Okay, perfect. So thank you again, Anna, and we are, our time is up right now, but thanks again to both our Lightning Talk presenters. And certainly if there's any questions, you can follow up with our presenters at a later point. But now our time has come for our platinum vendor presentation from Ebsco. So I would now like to turn over the floor to our Ebsco presenter, Hannah Fletch. So Hannah, over to you.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. So Lecter, would you mind giving me presenter rights so I can share my screen? Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
Are you able to
All right,
share?
so can everyone see? Yeah, can you see my screen? I just shared.
No, I don't see it.
Not yet.
Okay, 1 second. All right, how about now?
You got it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Hannah Fletch. I am the Ebsco Health representative in the territory. Super excited to be here today. I saw a lot of familiar names and faces, so good to see you all. For those of you that don't know me, I'm based out of Washington State, and I cover Washington, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, Nevada, and then Western Canada. So just a couple housekeeping items. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the raffle code. I'm going to have it posted at the end as well if we have any late joiners. And then we have the next 20 minutes. So I think for this session, if you guys can mute yourselves just to keep things moving, and then feel free to contact me after the session, or if you want to drop a chat with a question, I can definitely follow up with you as well. And then I'm going to show you today. So what I want to focus on today is new content for the library world. And what I'm really hoping to do is show you 4 things that you have not seen before. So it's been a busy year. It's been a crazy year with COVID, but it's been a busy year at Ebsco. We've continued to innovate and create new products. So what I want to do is touch on those 4 things that you haven't seen before and really just knock your socks off with some exciting new stuff. So hopefully this is impressive and exciting for you. And like I said, if you could just hold questions till the end. I'm also going to have my contact information at the end too. So feel free to reach out then. So first and foremost, before we kick into things, I did want to share some exciting news from Dynamed. So Dynamed has been named the 2021 Best in Class for Clinical Decision Support. This is so exciting for us. It's definitely an honor, and I wanted to make sure you all were aware of this. For those of you that aren't familiar with CLAS, so CLAS is a research firm that monitors and reports performance for different healthcare vendors, and it really takes an unbiased approach as well. So it's just really trying to collect all of the feedback and do its best job to report in an unbiased fashion. I get asked a bunch if I can send over the CLAS report, the actual physical report. We unfortunately don't have access to this, but I did want to point out this is something that your IT department may already subscribe to, so definitely make sure to ask for them. And if you are interested in learning more, I'd be happy to send over the information we do have at the moment. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to point out is, or the new feature I want to point out is we are now able to provide a personalized patient-specific evidence and treatment option, all based on lab values, which is essentially going to enable patients and providers to have meaningful conversations that ensure that their lifestyles, values, and goals are incorporated into their treatment plan. So by incorporating evidence into the patient discussion, we can really foster a shared decision-making conversation between the patient and the provider. So I'm just going to walk you through a scenario. So let's say I'm a provider. I have a patient named Dan Adams. He's a 73-year-old male with diabetes and knee osteoarthritis. He's recently been diagnosed with AFib and is coming in for a follow-up visit to discuss anticoagulation options. And so what you're seeing here is patient information automatically pulling over from the EHR into this new solution. So we're in a mock EHR right now. What you're seeing is Dynamed decisions, And all of these little customizations, all these vitals, they have been pulled over from the patient record. So this is really exciting. This isn't really being done in a shared decision-making platform. And it's super convenient for both the patient and the provider. The provider doesn't have to go through and manually do this. And then the patient just gets very patient-centric customization. So their treatment plan is going to be based off of their actual vitals. It won't just be some generic handout. And so further, after you have all these vitals incorporated, it then can go through and fill out a patient assessment that's custom to Dan. So in today with this patient assessment, you can see his CHAD score is 2. His risk of stroke or a clot in the first year is 2.5%. And then clinical guidance below, it's recommending that you take you prescribe an anticoagulant to Dan. And so this is all based on his vitals, which is really exciting. And so this next slide is a great visualization, all based again on Dan's vitals. It's based on different treatment options. You can see that we have dabigatran highlighted up here. You could also click on any of these other drugs. You could click on no medication. And then it's out of 100 population over the next 5 years. And so you can see if you're on this drug, dabigatran, 3 people have a stroke or clot, 6 have a major bleed, but then you can see the benefits. 8 are saved from a stroke or clot. And so this is awesome for a clinician. They could have this up with the patient, give them this great visual, and literally do this for each of the drugs, and really have an evidence-based conversation to find the right treatment option. And so one step further, you get one of these side-by-side comparisons of different treatment options. So let's say we went through all the different treatment options, and warfarin and dabigatran were the 2 that really stood out. And we wanted to compare those against no medicine. So we have this customized option for the patient. And this is another thing you can have up in front of them. You can just go through, see on the left side there, you have FAQ. And so you could just go down the list and really, depending on the answers to these questions, you can really hone in on the right treatment plan for your patient based on the answers. And it's all based on, you know, answers to their lifestyles, their values, and you can really customize it to that. And this also prints really nicely as well. You could put it in a PDF format, print it out. And so if you don't want this on your screen, you can have it, you can give it to the patient, they can take it home and review it. And you can also document it in the EHR. So artificial intelligence incorporated into our point of care tool. This is something that's brand new this year, like I mentioned. Point of care, the whole concept of a point of care tool, so Dynamed and Micromedics being combined, that's not really new and exciting to anyone at this point, but what really is exciting, I think, is the artificial intelligence piece. It's not being done in any other product. No one else has the AI feature. So I'm going to give you another scenario here and walk you through how someone might use the AI feature in Dynamed and Micromedics. And so I am a general neurologist. It's a difficult role. I have to know a lot about everything. And so obviously I'm the perfect candidate to use something like this. I need a quick reference. I'm going to go in here and try to get the information on a new drug. So I have a female patient. She has MS. She's 32 and experiences migraine headaches about 2 to 3 times per week. She's tried most general treatments and preventative options, but you want to see if there are any new medications available for her. And so this is, you know, pretty standard Dynamed and Micromedics. You know, most medical information platforms are going to look like this. So you can, as this neurologist, I'm going to review the study summary. I've heard about this new drug called Fermanagh. Could have picked a better one, probably. It's a complicated name. But I'm going to review the latest studies. I want to see the actual trial info, the levels of info, review the abstract. So that information is all here. That's what's expected, though, from a Dynamed or Micromedics. The real wow factor here, though, is the Ask Watson button. So let's say you decide you want to try this medication with your patient, and you want to make sure you understand the adverse effects for this new drug. So naturally, you just click the little Ask Watson button down there. And you can just type in adverse effects from Anna Zabab. And so really, really quickly, really succinctly, it gives you a nice snapshot of the common adverse effects and some serious ones as well. And so dose, this is also a big deal for a provider, and it's honestly one of the top reasons that providers look into a medical information point of care tool. And so just in this same chat box, right where I typed in the adverse effects, you just type in dose. And again, it brings back this really succinct, really quick answer for different migraines and dosing. And so, yeah, what's so exciting about this is you don't have to toggle between screens. You don't have to toggle between platforms. It's all in the same screen. You have your Ask Watson layered on top of the migraine page with drug info in the background. So it's all right there, really quick to move between the two. Yeah, and so like I said before, there's nothing else like this. No one else is using AI or Watson. So very exciting. So the third thing I want to show you is on our nursing side of things. We have a new resource on the market. We started completely from the ground up here, asking nurses what kind of content would you like to see. And so we created, from their responses, we created a new category of evidence-based nursing content, and we created an all-new CE model that no one else is using in the marketplace right now. So care intervention is the new piece of content. It's not in any other nursing solution. It's completely proprietary to Ebsco. And like I said, it was basically what the nurses wanted. They asked for it specifically. They had asked us for something more detailed than a skill, something less wordy than a textbook. But they really, the whole goal in mind is they want to help people. So how can we, we need something that can help us guide treatment and action plans when we're with a patient. Give us that detailed information. So we included emergent care considerations in the content. We even added rehab considerations. And then we give you a snapshot of the disease overview as well. And like I said, this was all created because of feedback from nurses. And the second piece, so continuing education. We completely reimagined how our nurses track, claim, and store their CE. So once you have a personal user account in Dynamic Health, up in the right-hand corner, as you're searching, as you're scrolling through our content, it's tracking. So where it says 17.5, that's how you know how many CE modules you have. And once you click into that, you can see that you have 17.5 available to claim. So you could go through, claim those. And it's just a really easy platform to not only track, claim, but store. So you can come back and reference these 6 months from now. You can download the PDF. It's all going to be in here. And it's all time-based too. So as you're scrolling and reading the content, it's going to track that up in the corner there. All right, so the last and final thing I wanted to show you, so Ebsco Stacks, this is our next generation web portal. So I know you might be rolling your eyes and thinking, I've seen a web portal, I've seen them all. But this one is different. We've added some really next gen, really technology forward things with Stacks. So we've made it a really out of the box solution, meaning we can flip a switch and really turn it on quickly. So the turnaround time from when you purchase is really quick. We've also combined that with the deep knowledge of the library, so making it relevant to you and capable of integrating with all the resources that you need it to. So there's two things with Stacks I want to point out. I think the first and most exciting one is we've given you improved access to all of your resources using API and discovery searching. So on any content you want, whether it's a point of care tool, could be journals, internal guidelines, internal repositories, any of our in-house Stacks content, that can all be integrated, all be searchable. And we work with any partner in source too. I just wanted to point that out. So you can access all of your content from one single search bar. So if you just type in asthma, it's going to pull back results from all of your resources. And the results are going to populate in little bento box format. And so all of these little boxes are customizable. You can see that you can have the point of care, so it's Dynamed or Dynamic Health, full text packages like Cinol and Medline, and then even drug resources like RxTX. So you can have as many boxes as you want. You can customize these boxes. You can move them around. It's all up to you. It's all customizable. And then one step further on how amazing this is imagine if you, the librarian, had to provide usernames and passwords for all of these resources. How much time and effort that would take to maintain that. I just imagine a lot of links breaking, having to fix that, having a lot of patrons reach out to you because things aren't working. But Stacks eliminates that, and it uses single sign-on to give your users an experience similar to like apps on a mobile phone. So that's what I like to think of these as. You don't have to log in and use your username and password for every app. It automatically just knows and seamlessly authenticates. So that's kind of what this would feel like. And so lastly, as a librarian, you can manage this all yourself. So it's no IT involvement on your end. It's no Ebsco involvement after implementation, of course. Just full administrative control right at your fingertips. So you can make changes whenever you need, no wait time. Whenever you make a change, it goes into effect ASAP. So that's what I wanted to show you today. I hope this was pretty exciting in the library world. I know things have moved virtual, so I haven't been able to meet with everyone like I used to, but hopefully this gets you up to speed. And if you do want some more information on any of the things that I spoke about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or one of my colleagues. I have our contact information on the second page here. But just to recap, we talked about the patient-specific evidence recommendations. So incorporating the patient information, the vitals into your conversations and into the EHR to incorporate shared decision-making with your patients, artificial intelligence within the point of care tool. So using that search functionality to bring up dose or adverse effects, really anything, you can talk into that chat box and it's going to pull back any information that is in Dynamed and Micromedics. And then with our nursing product, Dynamic Health, we've added care considerations as well as a new CE workflow. And then with our Stacks portal, we've added incredible API functionality and customization options that you as a librarian would manage. So I wanted to thank you all for your time. Like I said, please reach out if you have any questions. That is my cell, my email. And like I said, I cover the Pacific Northwest, plus, let's see, Nevada, and then Western Canada. It's a lot. And then Andrea Spector is my colleague in California and Hawaii, and then Angie Bisterfield is in Idaho and Utah. So if I've missed any states or territories, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will make sure to follow up with you. Thank you all for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Hannah. So I know we're nearing the end of our session. There were a couple of questions here because we have a couple of minutes here, and then people can follow up. But one of the questions that's come here is from Judy Kramer. Which electronic health records are you able to link to? Oh, I think we may have lost the sound, Hannah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I'm on
no,
mute.
there we go.
Okay, so I know we have integrated with Cerner and Epic, but we do play well with all EHRs. So if there's one in particular that's not Cerner and Epic, feel free to reach out to me and I can confirm.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then there's, I think, one other quick question, and then we'll sort of close off that session from Sarah. So you don't integrate the results in a single stream. Each resource is in its own box.
That's correct. So that is the bento search box option. There is, like, if you want the discovery search result list, we have that as an option as well. So it's fully customizable. I like the bento search box because I think that does a good job visualizing for your patron. But you can have a discovery search result, which you're probably more familiar with.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much again, Hannah, for sharing all of the new resources and updates with Ebsco. So
Yeah.
now sort of draw the day to a close as day one has now ended, but I do want to turn it over to Pam or Catherine if they have any parting words.
Hi, thanks. This is Catherine. No parting words, really just that it's been a great first day, and we're really looking forward to seeing everybody again tomorrow.
Hi, it's Pam. Yeah, thank you everyone so much. Just a reminder, I've been seeing lots of extra entries for the raffle. You can grab the codes from the vendors and submit for your extra entries. I'll just put the address in the chat right now.
Perfect. So thanks again, everyone, and looking forward to day 2 of our conference tomorrow. Bye for now.